What's up, everybody? Bootsy Greenwood here, and I'm breaking down Transurfing chapter by chapter. And yeah, we're at our next chapter here, and we're getting really, really close to the end of this book. A lot of these ideas are repeated, and there's a good reason for that. Um, these ideas are things that we intuitively knew when we came here to the earth, you know? And we forgot all this stuff over the course of being socially conditioned and having heaps and heaps of other people's ideas and and their goals for us, and these fake goals and these social shiny pendulums that look great and we think we want, and then we get there and we're like, dang it, I didn't want this, I'm unfulfilled and I've wasted time. Remember, it's never too late. When we get there, we can always forward to the past, okay? Let's keep in mind the world reflects your relationship to it, okay? So you are at the cause. You are at the cause of how the world treats you. So if you treat the world well, right, then the world is going to support you. The world wants you to have your toy. God wants his expression. That's why he's here in this form. That's why we're this water drop. Because God's like, hey, I want to play this game, all right? I want to see what it's like to be in this play. And then we want to observe the play while we're in the play, okay? The reflection in the mirror is formed in the unity of heart and mind. So it's very, 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 very critical for us to understand who we are at our deepest level, for us to listen to our heart, however long that takes, whatever process you want to take. I love The Artist's Way. It helped me a lot. There's tons of other books. There's quiet reflection. There's meditation. There's being out in nature. These things are all very, very helpful. Also, some things that could help you to identify your goal is what things do you see that you think are amazing, right? Like, what are those things? What did you really want to do when you were young, right? That's another that's another clue. And the other thing is, what irritates you? Like, when you, like, if you saw like a bad commercial and you were just like, oh God, this commercial's terrible. Well, maybe you should think about writing a commercial or being part of advertising, for instance, right? Like, that's probably a terrible example. Anyway, so the mirror reflects the content that we project towards it, okay? It doesn't reflect the nature of our relationship. So this is why bad things happen to good people, right? A lot of really good people think that they'll be punished. That's their assumptions about the world, that because they're good, that people will take advantage of them. And guess what happens? You guessed it, their suspicions are confirmed. While a lot of, pardon the expression, shitty people, you know, that just don't have any guilt, psychopaths and, you know, energy vampires and those types of people often have the world work out and things happen to them because the world is going to support these principles. And if you have a ton of guilt in you, then you're constricting and you are definitely very likely to hit that induced transition. The guiltier you feel, the more it's just going to unravel and the worse things are going to get. Guilt is very, very dangerous. And to get rid of guilt, it's really important to forgive yourself. And it's also important to forgive other people. And there are a lot of exercises about that. Maybe I can go into that in some later videos. In the past, I've like written things that have happened to me and gone through it and reprocessed it and said that I've forgiven people. I didn't always forgive them. Maybe it took me a few times to go through that and forgive them. But remember what happens when you forgive somebody. The charge that they left you with is released. And now karma can fulfill itself once you release that. So you forgive, it goes away, you're not burdened with that anymore, and it goes on. Now, psychopaths and people like that, they don't feel any remorse. They don't feel any guilt. So the world supports them because this reflection, again, reflects the content of what's being projected at it, not the nature of the relationship to it. So if you're a good person, that's great. You should be. Be a good person. I'm not saying this, be a bad person and who cares, but they do often get their goals met and have things in their lives just because they are not concerned with what they did wrong, right? And again, wrong, right, do what you got to do. You need to live with yourself at the end of the day. That's absolutely clear. But just keep that in mind. 86 guilt. You got to get rid of that stuff. It will absolutely destroy you. All right. Don't think about what you don't want, right? Okay? Now, it doesn't mean you can't not like things. You're allowed to not like things. But where attention goes, energy flows. That's the idea. Attention goes somewhere, and we focus on the things that we do want. We focus on the beauty in our world, and those things, guess what? They gain momentum and they start to grow. That's just how that works, okay? All the reflections that happen are an advantage to you, right? So whatever it is that happens in that mirror, advantage. If you really wanted this job, but you didn't get it, advantage. There's a better one, right? If you maybe made a mistake earlier in life, that's okay. We can forward to the past. Advantage, right? And you'll start to see these things happen and you'll just be like, what? You know what I mean? You're just like, wait a second. I've even had times where I thought I screwed up so bad and just made such a huge mistake, And actually the other day, here's a funny story. So the other day, I threw something away in the garbage can that was hot. Okay, go walk around, blah, 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 blah. Don't even think about it. And I walk back in the kitchen and my trash can is just there's just smoke coming. A literal trash fire, okay, in my house. And, I grabbed the thing and I'm like, oh my God, I had only so much distilled water in a gallon. I didn't want to have to start, filling up something in the sink because I didn't think I had that kind of time. But I took this whole gallon and just... And then I took my trash out because it stunk and rolled it to the curb, but I didn't realize it was trash day. So the reason why I rolled it to the curb was because as soon as I took my trash out, which was on fire, because what are you going to do at that point? I put it in the garbage can and then I rolled it to the street because I noticed everybody else's garbage cans were on the street. And 20 minutes later, if that, the garbage man comes by. And see, I have my house rented next week. So they wouldn't have known to take the trash out and stuff like that. So unbelievable. So even a trash fire, right? And this is a simple example. It's kind of a silly example. But even a trash fire, man, is to my advantage because now I don't have, 16 extra bags of trash, or I don't have to go and throw a bag of trash on top of my car and drive to some dumpster where I'm not supposed to dump it or whatever anyway. So all reflections are advantages. Let's see, what does that say? Your reality is reflected by... I can't even read my own writing. You got to change the image, not the reflection. Your reality is reflected by you. You've got to change the image, not the reflection. So change the image that you're projecting to the mirror, and the mirror will reflect it. Remember again, the arms in the air and how it takes time for the mirror to pick up that change and bring it into the physical world. Don't suppress your emotions. Change your relationship to the problem. That's vaudeville. Now, I do want to go into depth here because Vadim does not really talk too much about the shadow or any of those types of things in this book. These things are very real. They're great concepts you can read up on. And I do recommend going through your hurts and the things that you have, had psychological damage to you throughout your life. All of us have these. No one was born perfect. And I think there's, legitimate, I think the primal scream theory, there's some, there's probably some truth there, and just coming into the world and the trauma that we experience. So I think it's really good to explore yourself. Ask yourself, it's okay to not like things, okay? It's okay to do this work and look deeply into yourself. That's a good thing, okay? But the point is not to get hung up on it. If you had a traumatic experience that happened to you, right? And you just think about it and think about it and think about it and think about it, and you just harp on that, oh man, that's really bad for what you're doing in the reflection of the mirror, because you're just broadcasting negative energy. You're vibrating that into the space of variations, and that is what is coming toward you. So we want to be careful not to do that. Change your relationship to the problem. You can make a joke out of it. I highly recommend that. And then if it's something that's really deep, a really deep hurt, take your time and deal with it. There were a couple of things that I have had to deal with that took me some time, and I had to kind of break away from trying the transurfing concepts to really dig deep and really figure out what was going on inside of me. It's like, why do I have such an anger of some of these things? Like, where do those come from? And start exploring those and journaling and doing these morning pages. And it's really helped me to get in touch with some of my past life experiences. And I think that once that happens, it's much easier to let go. And then you can use these negative experiences as an advantage, because you can help people who have had these same issues and problems. Okay. Yeah, that's going to do it for this chapter. We are, wrapping it up, and we are pounding away. We are just forcing these concepts. Listen to the book a bunch of times. Watch these videos. Think about these. Draw your own diagrams. And I'd love to see anything that you guys are working on regarding transurfing, anything that's helpful. A lot of people have commented, and we've had some really great conversations over YouTube. If you want to hit me up on any of the other social medias, I'm at Bootsy Greenwood, so be sure to do that. If you want to join the laziest email marketers email newsletter list that basically never comes out, I'll give you a free book when you sign up, but I don't have a second email even drafted yet. So if you want a free ebook, go to gumroad.com/Bootsy Greenwood. And then I'm on Patreon as well. Patreon.com/Bootsy Greenwood. Go to Transurfing TV. Check that out. Tons of great material. Tons of great instructors over there and collaborators. And also podcast hosted by yours truly. And that is on the iTunes, the Spotify, Stitcher, everywhere pods are cast, okay? If a pod can be cast, the Reality Transurfing podcast will be on that platform. All right, guys, that does it for this lesson. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.